Okay, quick answer if I can, if you really want to know. All right, basically, Heinz used to have a company with a guy named Noble, and Heinz and Noble produced horseradish, and they had like 100 acres of horseradish growing, and they had vinegar, and that was their business. But they went out of business in 1875, and Heinz was on his own. He was forced to try to find food put on his kids' table, and it just so happened to be a time of the year when cucumbers were very cheap. Cucumbers were more of a winter thing in their time, and what ends up happening is he ends up taking the vinegar that he already had existing and began making pickles, and those pickles basically fed his family and started up for him a new company, and it was Heinz, and he began pickling. And they dabbled in pickling before, but it had never been profitable. But Heinz on his own was able to take a new angle, and the pickle saved him. Basically, he put food on his table. He moved on to other things that he was able to also get cheap, like tomatoes, which were imported from Mexico. They had no money, so he was able to buy them cheaper from them, and basically did something that had never been done, which was taking like a tomato paste and make it into this ketchup thing, which over time has become what we have today. It wasn't the same then. It has sugar in it now, things like that. But this tomato paste came right after a big crash in the stock market, and or the bank crash, and the economy was torn apart, and things like this was able to put vegetables in people's houses in a time when bottled foods and things were normally suspect. But Heinz had already made a name for himself by being a very good, high quality company. Their clear bottles were actually a selling point, because other people used to have tinted bottles in order to scam people. They'd put fillers into the food, and people didn't trust them. But they trusted Heinz. He had clear bottles. He had a good angle. The guy was a seller. He became a big seller, in fact, multi-millionaire within just a few years. Began buying out plantation after plantation, and now he owns most of the plantations in the world. He owns almost all the tomatoes in the world, amazingly. Well, he doesn't. He's dead. The thing is that now it's very hard for people to buy tomatoes unless they buy them from him. All these other people, like the guy previously mentioned, all these other companies that also sell tomatoes, most likely they buy them from him. They can't compete. In fact, most of the store brands are actually just Heinz in their own bottles. They pay Heinz money, and then they bottle them. They bottle them cheap, and they sell them cheap. They make them the same price as Heinz, but Heinz has a huge markup. Why? Because they sell them all. And who's going to compete with them? So they sell them higher. And then the store brand competes with them, and what does it matter to Heinz? They're selling them either way. So basically that explains why the pickle's on the bottle, and it also explains why every brand of ketchup that you know is Heinz. Because your parents had it, and their parents had it, and their parents had it. That's basically the reason. It's not going to go away anytime soon. Next you're going to ask, what's that 57 on the top of every single bottle?